The following extended behind-the-scenes video is brought to you by our sponsors on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/ERB.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Hey, it's working. Look how round my head looks.
Machine.
Come on, you bastard!
Welcome to the behind the scenes of Burger King versus Ronald McDonald.
I know what you must be thinking to yourselves. You're thinking Burger King and Ronald McDonald? That's not history, man. And to you, I would say, yeah, you might be right. One of the things we liked about this was how cool people thought it was in the Flash in the Pan series. Flash in the Pan, hip-hop conflicts of nowadays. I just love saying that. Which if you haven't seen, it's a spin-off series we created on the ERB2 channel. So when we did it as a Flash in the Pan, one of the most popular comments was, you guys should do this as a real battle. And it turned out to be really fun.
Ask Rick and Morty who's the lyrical boss. I've got lines for days, call me Szechuan sauce.
Ronald McDonald versus the Burger King used to be one of the most suggested matchups. So we thought to ourselves, you know what? Let's do something that we never thought we were gonna do, because that's kind of what it's all about here, is making rules so you can break them.
Show me two losers old enough to be my daddies and I'll square off with them like the corners of my beef patties. Pete and I just had a 45-minute conversation about the words beef and meat.
The original first line was, I'm squaring off with them like the corners of my beef patties, but then Lloyd wanted to do this, where's the beef intro, and I was like, Lloyd, that's old. We can't steal beef, because I think beef is a funny word. So then it was burger patties for a minute, and I didn't think that had the punch.
So then we made it meat patties, and then the world is right again.
Show me two losers old enough to be my daddies, and I'll square off with them like the corners of my meat patties.
We thought it'd be really cool to try and involve the folks online a lot more. So we had a contest for some lyrics for this particular battle. Then the guy who won wrote a really cool Wendy's verse. And actually, when we first did the Burger King versus Ronald McDonald video, Wendy didn't come in, and people in the comments were like, there should have been Wendy's, there should have been Wendy's. And then some guy just wrote it. It was awesome. So we were like, that's what we should do.
Another thing we saw in the comments was a lot of people talking about foot lettuce, and there were a lot of people talking about broken ice cream machines.
So it was really cool to be able to tweak those lyrics based on the feedback we got from the comments and then put it in.
Got a soft serve style and your rap machine's broken!
We did have a guest talent this time. MC Goldiloxx was with us.
What's your name?
It's Brittany, bitch. MC Goldiloxx.
Yeah! Yo, Goldiloxx in the building! Crushed it as Wendy. It's really nice when you write a rap and you make a demo and it's like here, and then somebody comes in and they give it their only thing, and then they bring it up to here, just like, yeah, and they just like smash it over the top.
She's very skilled, and she just kind of blew us away. You can tell as soon as they start on camera, you just know, like, professionals, they stand apart.
It's Wendy, the hip-hop and hippie lock stocking. The food is frosty as the salad bars that I'm dropping.
Got it.
Damn.
Awesome. Yeah, she's crushing it.
We're making some quiet kid getting, I'm not gonna give it away.
It's such a good laugh at an important place.
It's a very good line.
Big highlight for me was I got to be in this one. Pete and Lloyd asked me if I wanted to be the kid who gets left back in a playground, and I was like, sure, I can be that sad person. I asked Morgan about wardrobe. He said, do you have like a polo shirt and khakis? That's what I wear all the time. The shirt I'm wearing in the shoot, that's mine. Pants, mine. Brown shoes, mine.
My face is firm to the touch.
Yes.
Our makeup people are bomb, man.
Ashlyn is our head makeup person, and there was another lady, Ruth, on set helping us, and she did great.
Ruth came in and helped on the Philosopher's Battle.
Let me be candid with you, Voltaire. Fresh shirt with the egg noodle hair. Your ego's just so distracting. Free speech doesn't mean just keep yapping.
We originally were gonna put the Burger King in the old Burger King costume, which I don't know if you've ever seen the original Burger King commercial. You gotta check it out. It is the weirdest.
Over the last 5-10 years, Burger King has had this like reimagined look. It's like almost like a mask, but it's huge.
I am a Burger King man myself. I think McDonald's is kind of gross. I like to have it my way in terms of fast food. Honestly, I like Wendy's better than them all, but don't tell anybody.
I thought the makeup on Lloyd was incredible. I thought he looked just like the Burger King guy.
Welcome to Rap Battles!
I thought Lloyd looked amazing as Burger King. I thought it was a great interpretation of it.
Going into the mountain to tackle the dragon smoke. Just let me get my face on.
Hello. Once I got into costume, it became one of my favorite characters this season. It was just like, welcome to BK! I got to be like this big boisterous character, and I loved it.
The amount of glue I've had on my face in my lifetime is a lot. But I still can't keep my mouth shut. Hey! Which one of you wants to fight me? You! Mr. Couple, Chinn music time to fight the man! Come on, Mr. You bastard! I'll try to tie.
The crown was a problem at times. One of the crowns we brought in, which we had rented, was just really shiny. Anytime we have anything too shiny, the green reflects off of the crown. In the post-process, it's gonna like white itself out.
It's so interesting. Morgan is such a casual dude. He's so detail-oriented on the costumes. Morgan is doing costumes on season 6, and man, he made these both from scratch. He made the Burger King costume from scratch. I was really blown away by it.
He always does great, but I really thought this was a nice different looks for everybody, just different feels for everybody, different worlds, and I thought it all came together pretty well.
This is another handmade original costume from Morgan. I thought Wolverine was a fluke, and he was gonna phone in the rest of these. This one is amazing. I keep saying that, you know I'm kidding, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but I honestly think this costume's a little better than the Wolverine costume.
So originally I was going to do the pockets out of this foam and then decided that was stupid. So then I used the same stuff that I used to trim the zipper because Ronald's got pockets right here. But I didn't sew pockets into because there's no reason to. So I'll just put these on here and it'll look like pockets. Don't tell anybody. Sorry, a little costuming secret.
I kind of miss the days that rap battles would put like gold rings and gold teeth and bring that sort of 80s flashy hip hop element into the characters. We've veered away from that a little bit, but we were really able to do it with the King.
So for the ERB necklace, I was at the dollar store checking out, and like on the counter where there's normally candy, I looked up and there was this wooden thing that said Brave on it, and then my brain shut down for a second and I was like, oh, Brave, ERB, I can make a necklace out of that. And then I bought it for $1 and I made a necklace out of it.
Morgan could work on his receipts. He knows this. I've told him about it, but he's getting better, so that's good.
I got a 19-bedroom, 86-bathroom on the market if anybody needs a castle. Castles.com.
A cool thing about these characters was their brands almost made the choices for us. Mascots aren't like bitter, aggressive, sly, sinister things. They're happy, they're bringing joy, they're bringing sodium to you. All we had to do for me was just make sure I kept my eyes open and just smiled as big as I could.
Oh God, you can't even see your teeth in this thing.
Yeah. Watch this.
You're gonna die of heart disease.
I couldn't figure out how many sleep. Oh! Hey boys and girls. Ain't you never seen a clown before? The hardest part for me was performing in this character that's trying to aggressively rap but staying cheerful the whole time. Because if a clown gets angry looking, it's creepy. And I kept having fun with that on set, walking around making creepy faces, but we wanted to keep that out of the video entirely.
McDonald's, that was super creepy the whole time. He kept running around and like trying to scare people.
Special cream wash.
Oh, I've got to go freak out Morgan like this.
I gotta find it. Oh, wait. So why is it so greasy? It looks like a clown was just born. That's terrifying.
And there was a certain way he could look, and it just got creepy, and then he could look up and it looked happy.
All he had to do was turn his head down just a little bit, and then you have Insane Clown Posse, which is not what we want.
I don't know if you'll notice this, but you'll see like white around his neck. And that's not a mistake. From the research that they did, there's so many photos that show that the makeup just ends. So yeah, the paint ending and his colors, his natural color starting, that is on purpose.
A lot of times we film us separately, just pretending to rap against the other person. But in this one, we decided to film us together just because we could. And it makes for a little more fun dynamics.
We did a couple of shots together, which was really cool because when you do the profiles or the over the shoulders, when you're actually in front of the other person, it brings out a whole different energy and you can really react in real time, which I feel like gives those shots more presence.
This is John, obviously, and he's on our Discord talking to people, but he's using my handle because his, is that what you call it, a handle? Yeah. Is that cool? Is that what the kids call it when you're playing the Minecrafts? This is part of our Patreon. We have this Discord chat session, and I've been on there for like an hour. It's pretty cool. We go on there and we talk about ideas and stuff, so you can check that out. It's part of our Patreon. So thanks if you're a patron, and if you're not, it's worth checking out. That part's pretty fun. Our crew, as always, was on point. Jon Na was there on camera. Jon Na's been filming since episode 2, and I think he's only missed 1. I'd say Jon has been here probably as much as anyone except for me and Lloyd.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that.
I would agree.
I feel very lucky to be a part of the journey.
Oh, thanks,
and I look forward to the future, as always.
It's like a feeling of security. If I ask him something about an angle or a shot, or I know I just don't have to worry about it.
So can you tell us a little bit about this camera of yours that we're using?
We're shooting on the Alexa Mini, and this is my camera. We were shooting on the Red before, for resolution's sake, but since I own this camera, it looks just as good. Like, why not?
What should we know about this?
It's a great image. I think the bottom line is that it looks great. That's all that really matters, right?
He's so calm all day, but when you do something funny, he laughs. And if he doesn't laugh, that shit wasn't funny.
I should take a picture every time they put a drink on the props table.
No, that's mine.
This is yours? Javi, this is a computer.
It was just to trick you.
By the backup computer. Don't put a drink by the backup computer. I don't care if it has a top. Don't put a drink by the backup computer. And if you're watching this, crew, stop putting shit on the props table.
We're going to lunch?
So I've seen some requests from people both in the Patreon and here on YouTube in comments about talking more about our editing process. So we're always down. If you have any questions or specific like requests, things you want to see more of in the behind the scenes, we're always interested. We're trying to make these longer videos and show more of the process if that's interesting to you. Here's how our basic editing workflow works. We get all the footage on memory cards out of the camera. So Jon Na takes the memory card and he passes it to Josh. And that's actually illustrated in the Peter versus Lloyd battle at the end of season 5. We tried to like show that process.
And he does a quality check to make sure like there's no corruption of any sort.
And then the hard drive footage has to get transcoded through a program called EditReady into something that our editing software can use.
So when we get footage in from the camera, a lot of times it doesn't have the color pass that we want to have on it. They call it a LUT when it's coming right out of the camera. And so we have to transcode the footage to make it a format that can work well with our computers. So then we also add a LUT to make it the right color profile.
When you think about editing, you think about like, oh, I get to watch the performance and put it together and it's beautiful and the music comes underneath it and I get to choose the shots. And you do, but what you don't think about is the 85% of the work, which is transferring data and waiting, and then labeling the data and then waiting, and then stacking the data and syncing it and then waiting. That is the non-glorious part that is so essential to editing that I'm always just impressed by.
And the second stage right now is handled by a guy named Dan. And Dan sits down with this just mountain of footage. So Dan goes through and he makes what I'm gonna call a performance assembly. The visual effects and all that are very rough, and it's just looking for the performance edit and making it an entertaining video. And then it gets passed over to Javi. So Javi is handling all of our VFX this season, and he's been with us for a while.
For the hamburgers, what I did is I created like a spectrogram, which is the audio signal but divided in frequencies. So like that's like the bass, like the lower frequencies of the song, so it actually goes with the music.
Josh is gonna do more of the After Effects, we call it comping, where he's basically taking the edit from Adobe Premiere and putting it through Adobe After Effects.
You see here, anything that's black is gonna be transparent, and anything that's white is gonna be fully opaque. Anything that's gray is going to be slightly see-through, and so you want to try to get it so that everything that you want in the foreground is going to be solid.
And eventually you have a completed cut back into Adobe Premiere, and then you start laying in the subtitles, and then Lloyd comes in and he times up the subtitles to make sure they're just right.
I'm doing subtitles quite a bit. I'm doing, you know, we have the Patreon names that go at the end now, which is really cool, inserting those.
That's pretty much the editing process. It's been helped out a lot this season with these new computers we were able to get because of Patreon, so thank you if you're a part of that, and if not, thanks for being here and watching what we do. Like I said, if you have any questions about specific parts of our process, anything you want to know more about for your own videos, your own content, or you're just curious, feel free to leave a comment and we'll try and get to it.
I haven't had fast food in years. It gives me the poops.
What do you think?
I think you look like a fireman.
G.I. Ronald.
I tell them every time. I tell them every time. You know, something's gonna spill, and then people are gonna be like, "Hey,
put some sunblock on. For Christ's sake, you're pale."